that's right. I remember that.
And I said, oh, we're going to see a Snake King Mirana tomorrow. And lo and behold, first phase Mirana coming out for Tundra. Not a hero they have played a huge amount this tournament. And honestly, it can be a weird hero for them because I like to think of Tundra as this 5-man ball team behind 33's hero, right?
Yeah.
33's on an initiator like a Doom or something like that.
It would be a lot of flexibility here. Like Secret, they would have the possibility of running like an off-lane Mirana, right, for resolution. But it sounds like to me, Avery and Quinn, you're saying that like it's probably not likely just because it's not really a 33 hero, right?
I mean, I think it is possible. It's actually a pot of mid. There were several pubs that 9 and played the pot of mid. I imagine they scrim with it some as well. I think that is sort of this 9 hero device, you know, some
right for resolution. But it sounds like to me, Avery and Quinn, you're saying that like that's probably not likely just because it's not really a 33 hero, right?
I mean, I think it is possible. It's actually a pot of mid. There were several pubs that 9 and played the pot of mid. I imagine they scrim with it some as well. I think that is sort of this 9 hero device, you know, some flip flop.
Yeah.
You know, he shoots some arrows. I think that's something 9 could pull out. I think this 8 pick is really interesting. Whenever a draft goes weird like this, their 8 pick becomes much less about like you've structured everything and more about like reading the situation, like what do your players feel, like what makes sense in sort of hero combinations. And they pick this Ember with the CM. I think it's something that BZM is really comfortable on. And you have like they love this long range spell damage. This, you know, Crystal Nova, the pull is from long range. I'm sure they're gonna pick much more poke. You can maybe see Dark Willows or things like that later down the line. I think that's like a sort of the theme that OG likes for like a lot of their drafts.
I mean, it's one way to use this Crystal Maiden hero. There's a reason OG stole it from Tundra here. There's a reason Tundra has had such a high win rate with it. This hero is one of the ultimate poke heroes in the fight. She can get a bit tankier now in the meta. You build a Force Staff, you build a drum, you have these fluffy hats built in. Suddenly you're 1700 HP. You combine that with a Wraith Pact or a pipe that comes out from your offlaner, and suddenly you have to dive deep against Crystal Maiden, who's supposed to be a squishy backliner.
Yeah.
And it takes you a lot longer to kill her, and all of a sudden it's really annoying.
She pops her ultimate, gets all that armor, makes herself a target. You have to go in and stun her.
Like Quinn's saying, combine it with something like an Ember that's going in, you're already getting nuked down, you're already getting chained, and then you still have to dive further to catch this backline. It becomes very annoying very quickly.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting dynamic. I mean, OG is a team who doesn't typically buy this Wraith Pact item because Amara is generally more of a carry type player, so they'll end up with a lot of lineups that just have like, you know, 5 heroes with spells, and nobody's, you know, there's not this like defensive sort of ball lineup, whereas Tundra, I think, is a team that will check all the boxes by 1 drum, 1 veil, 1 Wraith Pact, we go down 1 AC, we go down the line and we have all the items, and we sort of play in this ball and play very structured. We hit the guy that's closest to us, we don't like, you know, move too far out.
I mean, honestly, I feel like this opener is a very anti-Tundra opener in saying we're going to let a lot of that zoo through. Like, they're not banning Visage, they're not banning Beast, they're not banning these heroes that can up the tempo, push the towers, ball up. They already have Maiden and Ember who can go a Maelstrom build, give you extra AoE, push the lanes out quickly. Crystal Maiden drafts in general, you get the extra mana, a lot more nukage on the map. You're going to stall that lane push into the objective taking. This is a scenario where does Tundra really want to go into those Visage Beast types heroes second phase for 33? They're leaving the Brood in as well, which is something we saw first phase ban versus Tundra a lot of this group stage. And when they got it, I mean, 33 is an absolute monster on that hero, right?
Yeah.
So OG is fully aware of what they're leaving in the pool right now, and they have to be thinking about it. I think the only real Amar answers to that huge summons coming out have been Sand King.
Yeah, I mean, you see the Timbersaw and the Pangolier ban, which are, you know, two of like the biggest anti-zoo. I mean, I think that approach from OG is pretty cool and something you maybe have to take against Tundra. Like when a team has all these random scary offlane picks, like, you know, most meta teams do, there's all this random zoo and all this crap, and if you just sort of leave it all and you have responses, or you, like Avery said, you structure the beginning of your draft to be like, you know, very sound against it, I think that's a pretty good way to play against them because you don't have to worry about all this garbage. You just like pick a well-rounded lineup that works for you that happens to be good against the general stuff they like.
Now, do you guys think that Tundra, is it possible that they swerve it all, or do they stick with what they're strongest with and just say, okay, you guys are going to try and beat it, but you see it coming, but we're going to run with it anyway? I feel like Tundra is that kind of team, right?
Yeah, I don't know if Tundra are much for swerving. I think they typically stay straight on the road, follow the traffic lines, you know. We're buying that Wraith Pact whether you like it or not.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, yes.
AUI is definitely a law-abiding citizen, that's for certain.
Most certainly.
I'm trying to think of what OG wants in the second phase, because these bans, again, we're talking about they don't have to ban the Zoo. They're opting to ban Ursa, Lifestealer. These are like very specific carry matchups. It's also perhaps targeting Skeeter's hero pool, because he has paid a pretty small hero pool this tournament. And we're talking about, you know, Lifestealer, the Ursa, the Naga. The Naga especially, OG has to be thinking about it. Again, this opener is another opener that's great against the Naga down the road. Like, they're already blocking a lot of these big heroes that Tundra wants. which might be why we're seeing this Mirana come out earlier. Maybe Tundra is going to be the one to swerve and just say, we're just going to take the fight to you. I think they still want this rate-packed hero for 33. There's no Doom in the pool. All right, that to me seems like a 9 Tusk.
Yeah, that does look like a Tusk mid.
That's what I'm feeling. If I see Tusk on Tundra, I feel like 9 is, he's going to click it no matter what. And, you know, even if he's not supposed to play it, he's just going to click it first.
So doesn't this lock down our heroes? Aren't we kind of set then at this point in time that
33? It does look like Meta is playing Potom.
Yeah. So
maybe. Or that Crimson Snake King Mirana, you know, he wanted the buff.
I mean, okay, so if Snake King's playing that Mirana, just 5 Mirana, you think you make that work? Not a big deal.
5 Mirana is a very specific hero.
To be honest, I think this might, I mean, we talked about sort of the lane nerdiness. I think this might have been something they considered in draft practice. I think whenever you have 2 teams that have such specific heroes like this, you can sort of pin down a lot of like, you know, like heroes that people might like. They probably understand the CM very well. Maybe they have some idea about having this kill potential on the CM in lane. They have tossback. They have this like avalanche into arrow. Like there's it's really scary for CM to play this lane. And she's playing against Pod and Tiny. Like that's a terrifying lane. And potentially they're just trying to feed off this Misha CM and just sort of snowball things. Because Net is a player who, you know, if you give him a lot of gold, he can play any hero.
All right, Avery, you brought up this 4-position Oracle. Why are we doing this? What is the theory here?
Well, this could be a 4 Oracle, could be a 4 Crystal Maiden. We don't know. I mean,
okay,
it could
true,
be anything.
true. Yeah.
So one of the things about OG is they have 3 of the cores who get the most farm all together of any team in the world. I think we're used to that by now. They're the ultimate tri-core team to some degree. 3 carries, unless you have a Marseille King, who's probably still building carry, you know. So one of the things OG has to figure out in these metas, well, there's the Sand King. One of the things OG has to figure out in some of these metas is how do you balance that with utility, right? How do you balance it with stuns? How do you balance it with utility? And in some of their past tournaments we've seen, there's a reason Seb at Stockholm was playing Wind Rangers and Shakers to give them the long range stuns for the damage to go in. There's a reason at this tournament their supports have been healers, double 4-staff buyers, Glimmer Cape, right? Like rush the utility to bring your tri-core online in those mid-game fights. Sand King or some of these utility heroes for Amar is another way to do that. And so to me, this OG draft is this is super anti-Tundra. It's like we're not going to get too greedy. We're going to make sure we have the sustain, the lane shove, the AoE to take the early tower defense fights. I like this approach. Like this is a very hard draft to skirmish into.
And I just want to point out, like, that means if Taiga, it means
I think that's a role that he's definitely slid into. You see the pass he plays, you know, Rubik every game, plays Enigma every game, and I think more recently, you know, you're seeing Oracle, you're seeing, you know, these random 4s with low net worth.
Put himself more as a captain. He's had to be more sacrificial in order to enable, you know, all the new guys.
Yeah, I think that's a role that he's definitely slid into. You see in the past, he plays, you know, Rubik every game, plays Enigma every game, and I think more recently, you know, you're seeing Oracle, you're seeing, you know, these random 4s with low net worth, like Avery said, buying 4-staffs, stuff like this. I mean, I think this Slark pick is very cute. I think it sort of goes back a bit to Tundra being a super laning team. I think you have this Slark +1. If you play the lane really well, the Sand King can be very vulnerable, and if things start getting out of control, this Slark hero, he's running around at night. I think while OG does have a lot of like sort of defensive capabilities, their heroes also are very similar in terms of the way they deal damage. It's a lot of magic damage. It's sort of very static. It doesn't scale very hard. So if you fall a little bit behind, suddenly your heroes aren't able to connect together as much. And there's just Slark running around at nighttime, diffusing people, burning your mana. Like things can get kind of scary in terms of the way OG deals damage.
I mean, OG's going to need a big physical hero here on the last phase, and they're banning the Beast, so they're still a little worried about this last Zoo that can come out. I mean, this Tuskar, if it ends up being core, looks like a great core Tuskar. This is something where 9 will go blink Deso and just destroy these back. Like, you're going to one-shot these heroes, right? There is no armor on this OG side right now until we're talking 3rd item Shivas on Ember or something way down the road. So I'm a little worried about OG being able to defend against the early physical that can come out here. If it's a core Mirana, right, you can go early. Diffusal, you can just go into Falcon Blade. I don't know, whatever you want to go on core Mirana these days, who knows, right? But you have the tag team to buff it up. And this Tusk pick seems really good right now. This is a hero that annihilates these squishy backliners. They don't have the best frontline against it. I don't know if there's a frontliner OG can get to help solve this problem from the carry role. Yuragi can play some of these, like these Lone Druid type heroes in the past. Morphling is another one that you can go in and tank a bunch. Gives you the armor here.
Yeah, it also shifts some dynamics in that you get this Ags at some point, and you go from having all these backliners to, wow, now suddenly you have a fish of your own who's jumping all over the place, and you get more vision from this. Slark's going to lose a lot of damage, and a lot of that scary kill threat on some of these backline heroes. Maybe you have this, you know, Morphling suddenly who's just leaping around like a crazy person, and it's hard for Tusk to go on him, and you give some space for your Oracle and CM to play, some space for your Sand King to look for stuns, that, you know, it opens things up a little bit.
There's OD, though.
There is the Decorator.
Tundra loves this OD as a Morphling counter. They have picked it every time. You rush that, you go Midas into Ags. 9 has annihilated the games on this hero. I feel like this is a snap OD pick for Tundra here. They get a save for the Sand King initiation. You get Astrals for this Oracle long-term fight. You can do very well versus the Ember mid. This is a matchup that people historically liked. I think it should be fine now with the Astral and the Orb buffs.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't ban it. They opted for the Beast and Enigma bans. I can understand those. That lane can be terrifying for Morphling.
It's going to be a real big test. How much do they elevate 33 in his pick and his style, and they stick with what 33 is best with. They do not go for what you were saying was potentially giving 9 the game-winning hero. Yeah. They stick with 33. They stick with the formula that has gotten them here and gotten them so far in previous tournaments.
I mean, 9 just wanted that Tuskar. He wanted it too bad.
Yeah.
But I think Visage was the other hero I'm considering, just because there's, you have to play it into this early CM Ember Spirit. There's this Sand King, but at the same time you can destroy the positioning from Oracle in the fights. It is a 4 Oracle, so taking him out removes a decent chunk of the net worth. It's sustained from OG's side, and Morphling doesn't punish this hero too hard on lane. I feel like you can get out of it a lot of times, and I mean, it's Tundra. It wouldn't be Tundra without a Wraith Pack buyer, Wraith Pack by AC.
All memes aside, it's a really good Wraith Pack game, and they didn't have somebody to buy it yet, and you need to buy the item. Like, it's a really good item right now.
I think just look at the Ember Spirit Sand King. It's like, I'm salivating for a Wraith Pack.
Oh yeah, the Wraith Pack pipe is going to be deadly here for OG for a huge portion of this game. Because again, their only real physical scaling is on this Morphling until we're talking about Ember super late game.
Sure.
You're fighting in a Wraith Pack pipe or Wraith Pack AC, which is the other build he's gone on this Visage. It's going to be hard to contest the Roshan or the early towers once this Visage comes online. So I would say name of the game is try and slow them down on lanes as much as possible.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. If you're saying this timing of Pipe Wraith Pact is deadly, and we also identified Tundra as a big lane winning team, that feels like this could turn into a nasty snowball of a game.
Yeah, I can definitely see this CM versus Visage dynamic going both ways. CM wants to spam you down, now suddenly Visage has a bazillion Soul Assumption stacks, and you get gone on and you just explode instantly. And suddenly this Visage is getting 6 early, your Morphling's getting kicked out. I think OG needs to be really tight in this early game to not just suddenly, there's birds everywhere, and there's a Walrus Man, and you're just getting run over.
The deadly Walrus Man.
It's going to be all kinds of zoo here for Tundra with a Walrus Man, a fish, a bunch of birds, and even whatever Mirana is riding. But our game number 1 of Tundra versus OG is about to get underway. Avery, we were talking before about some of the stories coming into this matchup.
Oh, yeah.
And there is a pretty interesting one here for Tundra, right?
I mean, if you go back 10 years ago, that's a long time in Dota terms. Snaking used to play on an old team called Team Dignitas way back in the day. And you know that Team Dignitas? It had AUI on it. It had another good compatriot in the universe on it.
Yep.
It had our good friend Fogged on it.
Of course.
And I remember when I picked up Snaking for VGJ, Snaking told me, I feel like since those 10 years ago, no, it was 8 then, but
sure.
Those 10 years ago, all my friends I used to play with went on to do great things. AUI and Universe went on to win a TI.
Yeah, that's
Fog, Giga, Chad, Caster, OD, like we do. And I think back to that story because to me, this is the TI where Snaking is now leading the team. He is captain. He has grown over 10 years.
Yep.
And, Fog's watching backstage. Aui's watching from literally behind him. Universe probably watching from home.
In his living room.
What's the worst?
Yeah, I think it's his year to kind of prove hey,
Very cool of you.
I'm going to live up to the legacy that you guys set and actually achieve the dream that I saw all of you go that passed me by to a degree. It's a bit of a Bible thump story, I'm not trying to
I mean, you're setting up because if he does manage to beat OG here, I mean, he's already achieved so much at that point in time that OG is one of the scariest teams to be able to match up. You can get that momentum, being able to beat them in the upper bracket. Who knows how far Tundra can go? I mean, that's a great story just because Snaking, from everything that I've heard about him, he's gone through some teams and stuff, and I've heard that he's can be a little bit hard to work with. But the one thing I've never heard is that he never lacks when it comes to hard work.
No.
He is there day in, day out.
This match has literally been 10 years in the making for him.
Yeah.
I mean that literally. This guy has grinded Dota for 10 years. And you're going up against a team that is, in some ways, brand new. This is an OG debut squad. It's kind of experience and the veteranship that Snaking can bring to his team versus this fresh energy and idea creation and all of that OG is known for and has destroyed people with for the year. Yeah. To me, that creates an interesting back dynamic to this game that is I'm very excited to see how it pans out.
And on the other side, we have somebody from OG who definitely not quite the same length of the story when it comes to Snake Kings, but Misha, I mean, he went through 12 different teams before he finally ended up on that OG roster, you know, as a coach, and now he's there as a player and stuff. Like, it took a while. He was like grinding through. If you go through his history, it's like 2 months here, 2 months there. You know, like he was just grinding through the Eastern European scene, and he finally has found a home. And look at the success he's gotten. I mean, he was obviously going through that many teams that quickly. He obviously was not complacent, right? He was obviously just searching for the team that could win him TI. And, well, he's found a place here, and they've already had a great amount of success this season. And it would be a damn shame to head to the lower bracket now. But let's get into it. Pause is done, and we are into it. OG versus Tundra, game 1.
Look at the early itemization here. 33 going for that Blight Orb. An aggressive build on this Visage. Sometimes we see the early Blade or just early stats for extra last hitting, but it tells me Tundra wants to fight on this lane, try and abuse the squishy support, and if it's Oracle or Maiden up there early, and just trade for the kills. We'll see if it pays off. Saksa doing some early ward checking. Got the Windlace up already.
It's crazy how many small items he has queued up in his quick buy. Like, just, you know, there's a Mango, there's a Clarity, there's a Tango. Like, they're ready for this lane. I think something that Tundra does in lanes that very few other teams do is in their off lane, they won't just like, we're either pulling waves or not pulling waves. Like, they'll do it randomly in the middle of the lane. Oh, it's 2.5 minutes. Let's pull a wave here for this specific reason. And people aren't used to reacting to that type of thing because they do it in like very specific situations. So suddenly the other team does the wrong thing with the wave, and the wave's by Tundra's tower, and now you're like, huh, we can't lane anymore. I think these types of little sneaky things, like they're super aware of.
I mean, this Tundra off lane is one of the ultimate lane
Yeah, they're really scary.
Disruption teams. You don't know where the waves are. There's a wave by your tier 3, there's another one by their tier 2. You're like, am I even in the lane anymore, or is the lane in the Roshan pit? It's just so annoying to play against. It makes everything you think about what's happening in the lane get thrown off.
Yeah, and you can also, you know, potentially a team like OG, a younger team, is their first time at TI for a lot of them. Suddenly you're out of your comfort zone. There's, you know, you're laning in the river, and, you know, things can be a little bit, you know, maybe that throws them off more than it would throw off another team.
You know, normally I would agree, Quinn, but if I've learned anything about OG this year, their comfort zone is quite literally the entire world. You know, nothing happens. In fact, I think the more you throw this team off, the more they get in zone. Like, you know, if you think you're tilting Amar and he's buybacking early, now he just goes 20-0, right? How many times have we seen this?
Many times. We talked about that quite a bit, the question of whether or not you should shut down Amar, because it just seems like if you do shut him down, he comes back with a vengeance. We're currently watching the matchup of Nine versus BZM. We see the top lane of Yuragi and Misha in that Morphling lane. We said the lanes are super important here to keep Tundra from being able to snowball. So what are the things we're looking for when it comes to these side lanes in particular?
I mean, the lane equilibrium already disrupted top for Tundra. It's a great sign for them. They just want this lane back so the Visage plus melee hero can go to work, especially if they get level 2 and level 3 fast. This Misha Maiden already got nuked down really hard. And this is kind of a bad sign. You don't want this lane shoved out so fast for Crystal Maiden. She kind of wants to wear you down over the course of that shove out and get the kill at the end.
Yeah.
And that bottom lane, it's a similar story. OG wants this lane back for the Sand King so he can farm. Tundra wants to keep it up so Snake King can play the lane with the right clicks. Equilibrium super important for these two side lanes early on.
You said it, Quinn. It looks like Tundra have already identified we're going to abuse this Crystal Maiden lane. We're going to try and go for those kills. I mean, they're going for it without a nuke on Saksa. They were just throwing the tree at him and hoping to get 33 to that maxed out stacks.
I feel like Misha's going to die here.
Oh, yeah.
He is very slow, very low. You have the Blight Orb on top of these tree hits. Very scary lane for this Crystal Maiden, and you do not want to feed the first blood to this Visage. It is the one way you're going to power up his early game the most.
Yeah, I mean, you can see the CS bottom lane as well, and the HP levels. This lane, since they opted to put the bottom 5, you don't have as much kill threat in this lane. A bottom Slark is very much chipping you down, abusing right clicks, abusing like individual skill in the CS. And I can definitely see a world where if Tundra plays as well, suddenly Sand King's low HP, can't come up to the wave, is essentially, oh my goodness.
Ooh, that was a lot of damage. Skater actually getting super low. That's it. Amar picks up the first blood.
Wow, that was a crucial mistake from Skitter, staying up a little bit too long while Snake King's getting the pull off, feeds that kill away. Now suddenly Amar, 700 gold, he's gonna have plenty of HP, plenty of regen.
Yeah.
Totally changes the trajectory of this lane.
I mean, that's huge for them. This is if OG can pick a hero to have a good early lane, it's probably the same thing, because normally this hero gets abused. So if he's getting accelerated, it's even better for them. I mean, that was that lane getting pushed deep, right? You get the caustics, you get that burrow, equilibrium. Winning OG one of these side lanes at least.
Quinn, talk to me about this mid matchup, because you're a bit of an expert. I mean, you also have a enemy mid that you play up against quite a bit, and Gunnar, who also plays the mid Tusk all the time.
Yeah.
We're going to watch Taiga, actually. Looks like he's going to be chased down here, snaking. Oh, the double high ground hit.
That was the Crimson item. That was the Crimson
It was the
Mirana.
cosmetic pay to win right there.
Damn straight.
But yeah, talk to me about Tusk versus Ember.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that 9 picked Tusk into Ember. I think for a lot of people, they'd be pretty happy playing Ember into the Tusk because you just can't kill you ever. And Tusk is a hero that thrives off of early kills, early momentum. So it's kind of interesting that 9 picked that. I mean, 9 is a player with a very specific hero pool. But I think both sides will farm early, but it's one of these lanes where the Tusk needs to get stuff done other places because at some point you're going to start getting slighted infinitely, and you don't have a way to deal with that regen, right? You can't really punish the Ember back. He's going to sit there and keep pressing this stupid button on you, and you lose all your HP. And so Tusk is sort of on a timer in that regard. Like, you see the CS is very even, but you can already see the slight starting to add up. Once level 5 comes around, level 7, it sort of becomes uninhabitable for Tusk.
I mean, you think he's just going to rotate super early this game, or do you just take it and get what you can? I mean, obviously the Tusk game plan is they probably don't care about this lane too much, right? Whenever you pick mid Tusk, lanes, whatever, it's about getting into the mid game where he's going to one-shot the backline. But do you try and force these early rotations to make up for this lane being a bad matchup?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that depends on how this top lane goes. I think that's where you're really happy to have a player like Neta in the offlane because your offlane is doing pretty well right now. You can look at the CS, Morphling very, very low, not doing the greatest in CS chart. Because if Morphling's having a good lane, it's pretty hard for this Tusk to go top. But now Morphling, he's getting a little bit low. Maybe Visage gets a 6 faster. Maybe suddenly Tusk, comes up here and tears the game open.
I mean, talking about that, you're getting doubled up on Morphling. It's pretty bad. Another Burrow Strike fight.
Yeah, Sandstorm doing some work. Snaking's going to hop out of it to be able to finish off Taiga. Should be no problems there. And you can see the strength of the Slark is building up now against this Sand King. He has no options here. He's going to be blocked off. He does manage to pick up the Bounty Rune, yes, but it's all but inevitable. He's going to go for the Burrow Strike, perhaps to the other side of the cliff, but he gets hit by the Snowball first before he could get the jump away. 2 kills in the bottom lane for Tundra, making up a bit for that first blood.
That's better than a Bounty Rune in my book. I'll take it. You also get the permanent Essence Shift agility on Slark because he got the last hit, so
true.
Skeeter's going to be happy about that one.
Yeah, I mean, also some time where the Slark gets to sit in the lane for free. The faster you get to the 6, the scarier it is for Sand King, because now suddenly the Sandstorm chip damage, like Slark doesn't care. He'll run into it, he'll hit you a bunch, he'll take a bunch of that damage, and he'll reset. And suddenly, on Sand King, you'll have a way to regenerate that HP. The lane can start to get a bit dicey. Maybe Tusk comes there and ganks you and kills you, and you have to, it can get very hairy very quickly.
So maybe the most important thing was the experience that he got out of those kills.
I think that was a really big deal.
That's definitely huge. I mean, it's also about this Mirana doesn't want to sit down here and leech his XP forever, right? At some point, she wants to go roam, play around the Tusk, play around the Visage, who's having a very good early game. Let the Slark get the solo XP, push him up to the level 6 path where he will abuse the Sand King on his own. This game is going to come down to these rune fights, 6 and 8. 6-1's coming up right now. Sox on top, Snaking to the bottom. They want to deny this Ember the rune. They will.
Invis for the Tiny. He's going to sneak away into the night, pick up the Bounty Rune while he's there as well. And we'll see whether or not... Do they have vision of the Invis Rune? Is it possible that he sneaks up on the Morphling here?
Might sneak up on his Courier.
Yeah, that's actually what's really going to happen here. Bye-bye, Courier.
Mildly annoying. I mean, despite the CS and, maybe the Morphling's HP levels, his net worth is, pretty on par with Visage. The scary thing about this lane, though, is that it only gets worse for Morphling. Once you get to 6, suddenly the dynamic changes, and Visage just keeps on you. You're morphing down, your armor's going lower, he keeps on you, your armor's going lower, and you can sort of get, kicked out of this lane, potentially dive. That's super high HP.
I think 33's had an amazing lane stage this game. Yeah, like, this is a hero that can get super abused. That's ideally what you want, but he's already just to level 6, 0 deaths. Higher CS than the Morph. I mean, I don't think Yuragi sat on this lane, but if you're 33, you're super happy. Because again, you are the core of these Tundra lineups. You want to get that Wraith Pact and the Auras online. The faster you do, the faster you're enabling everybody else in the type of game Tundra wants to play.
Yeah, I mean, you also know as this Visage, pretty soon there's a Walrus coming your way, and there's going to be this tower dive, and it's pretty scary for this Morphling. We'll see how much they try to react to this when it happens.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see 9 just make that move with the Visage 6. Like, help him kick him out if they feel like they need the help to kick him out. Because again, like you said, I don't think he wants to just keep sitting mid against these slights.
Yeah, I mean, you can see him squirming and dragging.
They're trying it up, but the burst damage is actually not even close, thanks to, in part, the raindrop that he had. So Yuragi will go full agility, try and get back some HP where he can. 8-minute rune is coming up. Amar is actually in the neighborhood. Maybe OG is going to put some serious effort here. 9 is going to be chased down by the 2 supports. BZM hoping to catch up and get a slight.
Gonna go for it.
He's going to go for it with the remnants and a little bit more. They got the fairy fire. Here comes Arrow. Nice shot from Snake King. Beautiful play by him. Snake King, longtime Mirana player. I mean, going all the way back to bottom. He's been playing this hero for quite some time. It's a little bit new on the 5 position, but he has some history for sure.
I mean, if you're gonna play 5 Mirana, you better hit your damn arrows, son. That's all I know. If you miss those, your impact goes down incredibly. But definitely bailed out his Tusk there. Huge play. Waste some Ember's time as well. Another arrow. 2 for 2 that I've seen.
Already good start.
Probably missed 5 early, but we won't count those.
Oh, they get the pounce. Here comes the rotation from 9. Shows up. And, well, we were talking about which of the side lanes are we going to be targeting here at the Tusk, because we know he's going to rotate around. Choosing to shut down Amar a little bit. Do you think that's a player preference or about the hero?
I think it might even be just based on the situation and Neta making the call. If you look at top lane, like, it doesn't really look like he needs the gank here. The Morphling's already left the lane. Neta doing some wave dragging shenanigans as expected. The tower is taking damage. These creeps, no one's getting the XP here. You know, maybe he calls, yo, you don't need to come top. Morph already left. I can come up by myself, you know? And sure. 9 makes the smart play, gets the quick kill bottom. Now suddenly you've got pressure in all the lanes instead of just top.
Yeah, 4-1. Tundra up by 1,000 net worth early.
I mean, the big power play for me is going to be OG's supports cannot drag their cores into the game, right? These are backline supports with heals and nukes. The upside is once your cores come online, OG supports come online as well. That's why they're trying to get this blink on Amar. He's going to do some ancient farming.
Epicenter. He's going to throw it out here. He's going to do some ancient farming right in the nose of Tundra, apparently, while Taiga is going to be chased down by 9 here. No hope to be able to save him. Amar popped the healing salve underneath this sandstorm while the rest of Tundra trying to get the last hits.
Got a sentry, it seems.
9's trying to hold the aggro out of the sandstorm here.
Oh.
Got them both.
Very nicely played, and he gets a little bit damaged.
There it is.
Now they see him. Oh, the pounce barely off the mark. And Bro strikes over the side, and now BZM is here to be able to help him out. Amar just on the sliver of HP, but they can't quite see him. They're going to be able to kill Skeeter as well. BZM to the rescue, and now 9 may be the 3rd pickup as OG. Oh, beautiful shards. BZM doesn't quite have a lot of mana. Does he have enough to be able to jump over to the other side? His slide is not going to be good enough. He has plenty of remnants, but the mana is the real issue. They fed him some Magos, not good enough.
Great play for OG. I mean, we're talking about enabling the Sand King, getting him to blink. If Sand King dies and you lose that stack, you're absolutely screwed going into this mid game. Now they have a very good fighting to get the Sand King online, push towards this Maelstrom on Ember, who again, who's having the best game in this game right now? It's BZM.
Yeah, he is very farmed. I mean, you can.
Nice shot. Burst down Amar with the help of the birds. They'll keep that chain stun going. Snake King, even though he missed that arrow earlier, lands recovery 1, gets another kill on Amar, continuing to shut him down bottom of all the cores right now.
Yeah, I mean, such clutch play from Snake King, honestly. Going there and not letting the Snake King, you know, sit in the trees and sit there and defend forever because you don't have detection. Snake King immediately up there has 2 sentries, sneaky one in the trees. Amar doesn't expect it, goes down. Like, that's really painful. You're 800 away from this blink. You already farmed your ancient stack. Like, where are you going to get this gold from? There's more pressure from Tundra coming. Your mid tower is under attack soon. Your heroes are under attack. Your triangle. And the Snake King can't really contribute.
You have to weather the storm here. You have to do it through this Ember, too. Like, OG needs to fight through this Ember Spear right now. Ideally, keep this mid tower alive as long as they can. There's going to be some move to collapse on it, likely coming out from Tundra here in the next 5 minutes or so.
And shutting down the Sand King holding that top tower does also speed up your mid rotation.
You don't want to let him sit up there and just delay the game. You want to have this Visage be able to progress through the objectives he wants to do. Maybe a little triangle farm on the menu as well. And I mean, he is really farmed. This is going to be a fast raid pack.
And that's probably what, once he gets that raid pack, then we're trying to take down that mid tower, right?
I think there's some move that can come out, either to the jungles, you can go triangle. You want to use it to get the 5-man going, because I don't think OG...
That was so greedy. He really tried to hold it for 9, but ultimately Soxa did have to pick it up.
Pretty clutch from Soxa to click it there at the end and not like hope 9 got it. Like that was pretty clutch. I mean, I think
I would have left it for you though.
I appreciate that.
You know, otherwise you were going to yell at me after the game.
Let's keep that off broadcast. Thank you.
Power runes, man.
I mean, I think what Neta's doing here is something that is pretty cute and like something Faith Beyond's done in the past, but occasionally when these offlaners that can farm Ancients, if you don't feel like you have the ability to go mid for whatever reason, maybe OG has too many heroes there, you rescind a little bit, you farm the Ancients, you get your pot on this level 7, now suddenly, you know, there's a little bit stronger time, maybe a minute later, and I think that's something that Tundra is more willing to do than a lot of other teams who maybe lose a little bit of focus, maybe they force this mid push a bit too much, waste some time, now suddenly their economy gets hurt a lot, and OG, you know, starts to creep back a little bit.
This is the Slark Diffusal. We're on a level 7. Amar's just channeling.
Yeah, he's... Ooh, okay. Snowball, they're going to go for Misha here. Amar still trying to set up. Good save from Taiga. The Crystal Maiden's still eventually going to die. And look at that, Soxa gets a really nice toss back onto the Oracle as well. Taiga does what he can, but ultimately he's just going to be throwing damage around before he eventually dies and gives another stack over to Skeeter.
Man, the amount of pump fakes from Amar. I thought he knew that smoke was coming. I was like,
yeah,
oh my,
seriously.
How does he know? But I think they were just, again, anticipating this mid move. They had the Sand King Blink. They had the Ember Maelstrom. Maybe Tundra's a little too fast, caught him off guard, and that mid tower going down is really going to open up the map here. It's going to open up the Roche down the line more as well. They didn't get the fight. I think that's the fight that OG wanted more than anything, right? Like, you want to be able to take that fight with the Blink, with the Maelstrom around that tier 1 that can protect your supports. Instead, you just get collapsed on. Now, where's your next opportunity to fight? Now you got to kind of play the map, make an aggressive move of your own. This is a nice move. It connects.
Soxa just throws the tiny, does what he can, but he is going to be the victim of this smoke. But what is OG going to do with that? Support pick off doesn't necessarily mean you can put pressure on the mid tower or anything.
No, they wanted Slark or Tusk out of that move. Yeah.
It's very cute.
That is a very Tusk thing.
First the punch, then the high five.
I can't kill you, but I'm going to sit here and annoy you. I'm going to cast my spells. You're going to be mildly irritated. But there's more coming now, and yeah, I mean, the map being small like this, OG's heroes, they can only really kill you out of support.
Oh, they surprised him, but the Shrink Morph went off just in time, and now that is actually baited 9 into death here because OG, they actually brought the full party here. Everybody but Amar is hanging out in this Radiant jungle.
Yeah, a bit rushed from Tundra. To be honest, I'm surprised they're not pushing things a little bit more. The Slark having the Diffusal Blade.
Ooh, good sentry laid out, spotted Skeeter.
He knows.
He actually thought maybe there was ward or something to be able to deal with the sentry in time.
Master tier Slark carrying his own sentries. That's how you know someone's a Slark player.
I mean, nowadays, Slarks are incentivized to do it. Find those wards, they're worth so much.
Was it his sentry, though, or did someone else buy it for him? Because there's a difference.
No, surely he bought it because he wants the bounty for it.
He bought it. Oh, no, he planted it. I can't see. GG.
Looking for Amar again.
Boom, sneaking in from behind. Soxa's going to be able to get the toss back, and they land the pounce immediately afterwards. Burrow strike in a second, but he can't get it off in time. That pounce just lasted too long, and the TP had to be canceled, so this is a free tower push.
Yeah, pretty cool adaptation from Tundra. They're not sneaking, staying up there in the top lane, sort of keeping it pushed in after 9 died up there, and they say, okay, that's fine. So now you can stay there. We're going to go across the map with the rest of the heroes. We're not afraid. You know, our cores don't need to farm. We're going to connect them. We're going to fight with them. We don't need our supports to be in every move. So Snake's just sort of chilling up there, and the cores go down and take this tower. They pressure the Sand King, and then suddenly maybe your main woods are under threat, or you have to waste a glyph on this tier 2 bottom, and then you have the next tier 2. Yeah, so there's the glyph.
That's a unique aspect of Mirana as a support, right? It kind of functions like those hoodwinks or something, because he could be up there and probably won't die because of his mobility. But Soxa, well, he doesn't have the same kind of options, and once again will be victim of OG's aggression. They're immediately going to smoke up afterwards here, but it was underneath the high ground ward.
Yeah, he's going to break it.
9, good job there. Breaking a bit of the smoke. OG, they know they've been spotted, but yeah, they're still going to go for that mid tower regardless.
It's low. There's a glyph here.
Free pick off on Misha, but there's going to be the jump in from DCM. He's getting caught by the birds, perhaps. The Morphling cut out of mana. Needed to go for Snake. He gets burned out of all this mana. They land the pounce there as well. And 33 is full health. Here comes the Epicenter, and Misha with a great ultimate as well. The arrow! It stops the Epicenter. No chance for Amar. A toss back from Soxa. What a hit with the Avalanche shots combination, bringing everybody low, and Tundra just kind of clean through the OG heroes.
Oh man, what an arrow to stop that Epicenter. So much damage negated in the fight. OG cannot clean it up. I'm not sure they were going to be close with that Wraith Pack down and put already on this Visage, but absolute disaster. BZM just getting his mana burned on the jump too. He just remnants straight into birds, and Skeeter sitting there like, oh, you did the pounce for me, son. Just drains all his mana, gets the stacks up. Tundra cannot ask for a better fight. And I was about to say, this game has felt very reactionary from OG in terms of being very patient, waiting for the fights, the right ones they want to take. The aggressive smoke moves I think are just hard for them this game.
Yeah, I mean, you can see very good positioning from Tundra in this fight. It's rare you see a full duration CM ult and they lose the fight. Like, they just left him alone. He pressed the CM ult and they just said, fine, do it. And they walked away and they fought on the other outer ridge. And you see, CM, she doesn't really do that much in this fight. There's not much she can do. Tundra, really, really nice positioning is fine. In crazy toss back.
Yeah, that was beautiful. Landing that combination on 3 different heroes. That was like the last nail in the coffin right there. OG, I mean, this just, you're talking about how they really set the tempo of this game. It just feels like they are very uncomfortable. This does, I wouldn't imagine, like, if you took away the logos and everything, I just wouldn't think this is OG.
Yeah, I mean, that's, sorry,
go ahead.
I mean, thank you. I think that smoke just felt very pressured. Like, you see the way Ember Remnant's in there, like, it's very like, we're losing, we need to make something happen, I need to catch a guy.
Pounce immediately afterwards. Manta trying to dodge a little bit of damage. She does manage to get the slight jump away just in time. The Pounce faded, but Nine is just able to go for the next hero. Taiga, he was there to try and help out BZM and may have been able to do something, but does cost him his own life and apparently cost them their tier 2 top tower as well. Things are getting very dark indeed for OG in this game 1.
The lead's going to build here. The one thing about OG is this team is very good at stalling games. Like, they understand that they are a very strong late game team. Between the 3 cores, synergizing in late game fights with the net worth they can bring out. I've seen them take fights from 20k down like it was nothing. The thing they have to keep in mind is you're playing against a Slark Mirana lineup. So one, you have this Moonlight that can move people around very fast, set up a lot easier. You cannot sentry everywhere on the map, especially these deep side lanes you want to split push. And then Slark is going to run around and kill all your vision. It just makes it even harder on top of that as well. So while I think OG has the heroes to split push this game out and take a later game fight with the Ember timings, I think there's also a lot of tools on Tundra's side to shut that down, just destroy the vision, and we're already seeing it. Like, you just got up some deep, dire wards, but Skeeter's running through here, and he's pinging it. And he's literally just pinging, hey guys, check around the area, get some freebies.
Yeah, I mean, they get these wards, but I think OG not that unhappy with the way the map is being split right now. You see them run all the way down bottom, Tundra reacts, and OG's already up in top lane buying some time. Like, the gold lead, since they got the Aegis, not really changed very much.
Nisha, that was rather bold. Anything for that extra frostbite, I guess. You just walked in melee range to the birds on that one, and Tundra's like, okay, we are already planning on pressuring some more. Ooh, Amar? Saksa really trying to force this by going behind. It does set up Amar for the opportunity. The epicenter for the Avalanche actually went out there and stalled things out, and with the Morphling already dead, there goes all your damage. Tundra, they're just way too big.
I mean, where's your damage going to come from? You already have full Wraith Pact type on this Visage.
Sand King does literally no damage at that point.
You do nothing. I think if Sand King channels all of his spells and connects them on everybody, you're doing like 500 damage. And they sit there and go, what's up? On top of that, you still have Aegis on the Slark. I don't think you can take these fights. I don't even think OG should really be trying to take these fights. I don't think it's possible. Even if 99% of your theory goes right. I think you have to split push this map. Maybe if you do that, your win probability isn't as high as taking that tier 2 fight. I can understand why they feel like maybe there's an opening, but this is just a rough spot to be in. And now Skeeter with the Mirana ult, nice little synergy, finding the freebies.
Quick kill on Misha, no problem.
Yeah, I mean, this comes back to, we talked about the heroes and the fact that OG's damage very, very similar, and suddenly this Wraith Pact type comes out, you're looking at the heroes and you're like, wow, we can't kill anyone. And when you're in that state where you're just dodging and you're just sliding around the map, it's all on the other team to mess up because they have all the power in the world. They can kill you and you can't kill them, and suddenly they're just squeezing you in. You're getting squeezed and squeezed and squeezed, and suddenly you have no net worth and they just throw on you.
I agree. This map is entirely Tundra's control, and like we saw earlier, they're just farming it up everywhere. I mean, Skeeter's just going into the whole team alone.
Finds an opening here. Taiga not going to be hit by the arrow, but still hit by that extra pounce. He's going to have a little bit of help here. Does, of course, have the Aegis, so it's perfectly fine for Skeeter to be super aggressive here. After all, he's setting up the rest of the team to come in from behind. Nice block in there with the shards. He's going to set up an arrow. That's going to land onto Taiga. They're going to leave their supports behind. OG full bailing out once again. They do not have the firepower to win team fights. They cannot win 5-on-5. So as soon as Tundra shows up, of course, they have to retreat.
This is high ground. This is Glyph for sure. I think Tundra just stays around. Are you afraid of any sort of 5-on-5 at this point? No, you have all the auras. You have the drum on Snake King. He has Force Staff as well. All the Visage auras that we talked about. You have BKB on your Tusk. This is such a huge power spike at 20 minutes in the game.
what can OG do? They're literally just helpless. They're watching their buildings die. I think if Tundra went top, which, I mean, they're probably going to play it safe and farm a little bit more gold, wait for the right jump, but, I mean, there's the drum, the Force Staff, the Wraith Pack, the Pipe, like, they've got all the Tundra items, and they're running it down your throat.
Nice. Good toss back. I mean, he just had so many setups, right? If he tossed him straight up in the air, it would have been an arrow. He tosses him over the Skeeter to allow the pounce to land. Tips start coming out. Snake King, I mean, Ammar, no impact, no idea. He has not had a whole lot of fun in this Sand King game, and I think so much of the story of this game comes back to the draft and where we were talking about how they were preemptively setting up for Tundra's like Zoo stuff and how they drafted a certain way specifically, and it seems to have put OG out of their own comfort zone. I mean, Ammar does not look like Ammar right now.
Sand King, he's a very hit or miss hero. Like when he hits and he starts snowballing, he is super strong. But when he misses, it's real. It's hard.
Struggle.
I mean, he's buying Veil. How many times have we seen Ammar buy Veil in his career, you know? This is not the item I think he would ideally like to be buying this deep into the game. But they are just searching for any sort of extra damage at this point.
Oh, up with the punch, the snowball, the arrow coming in as well. The Shrink Morph is doing its work, but now they've got the pounce, and that's going to be good enough. Misha, freezing field, but he just dies too damn quickly. BCM is going to be locked down. Ammar goes through, hits the Pro Strike, only onto 1. They're focusing on 33, but he is super tanky, and Skeeter is completely uncontested. One by one, he will just knock down these heroes, take away their agility, and that is it. OG. Well, GG out. This was no contest. Tundra 26-7 in this game 1. This had to have been a hell of a confidence boost here on the main stage of TI.
I feel like Tundra got to run their playbook exactly how they want to. And I think one of the big things about that draft in that game is OG knew that the Zoo was coming, right? They left it in the bands. You know they can always pick this Visage at any point and flex all the other heroes to wherever they want to flex them, you know, usual. So you know this Wraith Pack Pipe is coming. You know this is Tundra's game, but they had a huge amount of magical AoE, and I think if they're ahead out of the early game, you can take those early tower defenses and take the aggressive smokes to Tundra. But that lane phase, again, like Quinn is talking about, it's hard to outlane this team to such a degree that you're in that spot to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, they're just on the back foot this entire game. You can feel this pressure from this Visage. Like, if you just looked at top lane alone, it's just so scary. You're Morphling's getting kicked out by this one hero, you know, and you really just don't want that to happen, especially when it's Netta. He's buying these items. Like, you can just feel the push coming, and what are you going to do?
Yeah, they didn't even need to bring the Tusk up there to force him out.
Yeah.
We were thinking, oh, they have to bring 9 up here to force the Morph out. The Visage is so strong, he has such an early 6, he just kicked into the jungle himself. Yep. You're in trouble now. Ammar has to go up there to defend the tower. He gets arrowed by Snake King with his Crimson, and what are you going to do?
You know what Tundra is going to do, but you have to be able to find a way to be able to address it here in this series, and maybe our panel has some good ideas about that.
I'm going to find out, Cap, Quinn, and SPG. Thank you so much. That was a very dominant performance in the opening game of the series, Tundra versus OG. And at some point, when watching the games, I was like, why does this Morphling not have anything? Why did that Morphling not have anything?
I mean, it's the laning stage. They were. Yeah, sorry, it's my fault that they lost. No, it's this position for Tiny that did like. I thought the hero was going to fall off a little bit after the recent changes, but then people figured out, you know, we're going to take the 3-grab level 1 and be able to
you can lane.
Yeah, you can actually lane. You're not. You don't need to use as much mana as you did before. We went for Toss and the Avalanche, and also this is super strong laner. Like Morphling, you need to be very careful how you're going to approach. And one thing I always liked about 33 as a player is all the small items that he buys. Like he's just going to buy every possible small item in the lane to be able to just win that lane and snowball, because he knows that most of the time he's playing those Zoo heroes and will give them momentum.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm just so impressed that a team with a position 5 Mirana won so convincingly, right? Because I feel like this hero in the hands of another team in the first phase as the hard support would not have looked like that. So also an incredibly impressive performance from Snake King. He was hitting the arrows without any setup. There was that really cool epicenter cancel in the bottom jungle fight where he basically just won the fight for his team. So really good stuff coming out there. It was just, for me, I could simplify this game to a very simple concept, which is the only anti-Zoo hero, or the hero they were dependent on entirely, on the side of OG to kind of stabilize them and fight back in this game for them was the Sand King. And Tundra just focused all of their early game resources, all of their rotations to going down to Sand King's lane, killing Ammar over and over and chasing him into the triangle at minute 8. And sure, maybe they got a return kill or two, but it just was not enough. That Sand King didn't come online early enough, and Visage was just able to take the entire map.
I totally agree. That's the exact thing that I was looking at as well. I don't know if it's a Sand King thing or if it's an Ammar thing that Tundra was looking to punish, but the way that OG likes to play Ammar on this Sand King is they stack Ancients for him, they stack the hard camp for him, and he plays as a carry, farming those stacks to get his Blink Dagger. So they contested the Ancients, and he was so salty about that he epied them while the Ancients while Tundra was there contesting it. And then
I don't care, I hit creeps.
Exactly.
Ammar right there.
And then he goes for the recovery play of sitting in the safe lane and defending the tower for as long as possible to get the blink, which is what you do on Sand King to get the blink usually if you don't have Ancient stacks. And Snaking was there already with the Sentry. So it's like Tundra was just like, okay, if we punish Ammar with this Sand King strategy, don't let him get the Blink Dagger, we're going to snowball on them. And they did. They were right.
Yeah, they also focused, Tundra focused on Ammar in the ban phase as well to make sure that there was not really that
Give him
many.
the Sand King, punish
yeah,
it.
Sand King is like, okay, we can deal with the Sand King, you know, maybe you don't want to face the Razor, the Timber, or the Mars, just remove those, and you got a manageable Ammar hero, which is not always an easy thing to do, but it felt like Tundra had a very easy game. Do want to also take it back a little bit to the draft, because we did open with that Crystal Maiden Ember on the side of OG Lacoste, and that's fairly unusual, first of all, to have Crystal Maiden first pick, but also instantly with that Ember, it didn't feel like that really had a big impact for them in that game.
Definitely not. I mean, if you just look at the win rate of the certain heroes, like Crystal Maiden, yeah, she's really up there, but the Ember Spirit, like this hero always pops up when the games like really matter, and I feel like he tends to underperform as a hero. I don't think it's specific to like players playing it, because you know it's BZM. He definitely knows how to play the hero. It's just something about the hero at the moment that doesn't feel as good to play. Like other spirits definitely feel much better.
I think Quinn pointed something out during the game that was pretty interesting about like Ember versus Tusk, and the fact that if the game is kind of like stagnant and both teams are just farming, Ember sits in a lane and just constantly sleight of fist whoever's there, and then pushes the creep wave out too now, because the hero damage and the creep damage is the same. So that's really beneficial for Ember to be playing in a stagnant game, and Tundra did not give that to them. They were constantly contesting, constantly running in and taking the farm from the other jungle and not their own. So it's like a game like that just doesn't favor Ember, and I think the reason we see a trend that Ember falls off around TI is because there's a lot of 5-manning and running around in aggression at TI.
Yeah, it is back to the drawing board for OG, of course, after that first game. Gives us a little bit of a breather as well, and we're going to have an extra bit of a breather with Slax and Casey.
Oh, I don't know about a breather. Dude.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Hello. So Slax had a really good idea for a bit, but before you explain it, I have to draw.
All right, go ahead.
I have to draw attention to something.
Yeah?
Did you pee your pants?
No, I'm not a little pee-pee boy. I was watching the game and I got excited. I didn't think it would be such a stomp. Real excited. No, I did a Dota capitalist, you know, and the water bottle deal. It was a bad move, but it's exciting over here. Very humid as well.
Yeah. So we thought it would be cool to talk to the people sitting in these two seats.
These two seats. Now, you guys at home might not know how close the audience is to the stage. I am literally walking on it. This is illegal. Don't do this, you people in the crowd. But you are this close, yet no one has decided to take what I call the Thunderdome seats. These mother suckers, you can almost touch a pro player. It's incredible.
Please don't touch
them. Don't touch them. No, they have many diseases. But at the end, anyway, we thought we would find the two biggest fans in the arena for OG and Tundra, and they don't have to sit here. Don't worry. I forgot about the bit. We weren't supposed to tell them about that, but don't worry about it. All right, I'm going to go find a Tundra fan, all right?
Okay.
Who's a Tundra fan? Oh, we got a Bill.
Oh, boy.
Deal? These boys seem excited. Hello? Hello? Hello. Can you name one person on Tundra?
9.
Okay, all right. Actually, Tundra fan?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Wow.
I watch every match.
Really? What do you like so much about Tundra?
9.
Okay, thank you. Very creative. In fact, the jersey, right? Yeah, sure. Yeah, Tundra. Okay, real fan right there.
Jersey he wore. It's the jersey he wear on J-Storm. It's his jersey.
This is actually his jersey. His skin was in this.
Yes, his sweat.
How did you know that? How did you get your hands on this?
I will show you Nine's older brother.
Oh!
Hi, guys.
What do you think about your younger bro?
I don't know. I'm sitting here right now, so I think he reached the first step of his dream.
Oh, okay. Well, that's beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, and I can be here too. It's very funny.
All right, that's getting too emotional for me. Get your ass up. We're going to put you in the front right here, my friend. Wow, the biggest Thunder fan. Whack it up. Get to your seat.
Okay, we got to play fair here. Now we need to get the biggest OG fan in the house. Oh, wow. You're all huge fans.
Guys,
over here.
The Fairweather fans, my God.
Your scarf is upside down. Otherwise, it looks great. Can you turn it up? Excuse me. Pardon me.
Oh, yeah.
No, get out of my way.
Run, Casey.
Get out of my... Oh, excuse me.
That's
Pardon
a
me.
very...
Excuse me.
She went the
Pardon me.
hard
Excuse
route.
me. Pardon me.
Okay, there you
Sorry.
go.
Excuse me. Pardon me. Excuse me. Pardon me. Pardon me. Excuse me. Sir, your name?
Lindsay.
And how long have you been a
big OG fan?
Since the beginning, since Monkey Business.
What do you think about this squad's chances this year?
I think they have a lot of talent. You know, they might be a bit nervous, they're a bit young, but I think they can persevere and they can really get going.
Think we're going to push it to a game 3?
Definitely.
All right. Are you willing to sit next to a fan of not OG? Because you're sitting by all OG.
Yeah, let's bring it.
Yeah! Come on!
Give it up, OG lovers!
Come on up here. Watch your step. Oh my God, you're taller than I thought. I turned around like, let's go. Oh, hello. Jeez. All right. Okay.
All right, international friendship.
All right. Sit down. Sit down. Can we see a friendly handshake?
Yeah! Now don't move for the rest of the day. You two are standing right here. All right. Look at that. The community coming together, being BFFs.
I'm sorry for this whole crowd. I picked the tallest man to sit in the front seat. We will. Can you scooch down? Just thank you.
There you go. Hell yeah.
All right. Who's ready to see this go to game 3? See? All right. We'll see if that can happen.
Absolutely. Might go to game 2 though. We're gonna find out soon. Back to you guys.
Thank you very much. Tall people problems about being in the front indeed can relate. Let's talk about what adjustments we need to see if we want to get that game 3, because I think there's a lot of fans, regardless of whether you're cheering for Tundra or OG, you want to see that 3rd game. And Effie, adjustments, where are you starting?
I think for the most part, if you're going to let this Visage through, or one of these Zoo Heroes through, you need to have more than just one solution. OG's draft really did fall apart when their Sand King couldn't have a game, so I don't think it was a matter of OG not playing well. I do think that in the first 10 minutes of that game, there were a little bit of moves that OG could have done differently, but first and foremost, just don't give Tundra their comfort, and you'll be in a much better situation already, right? We've seen all of these teams target ban 33's hero pool over and over. Just do it. It's fine. You know, forget about the Crystal Maiden.
Yeah, because his hero pool at this tournament really is not that big. I believe he played 6 heroes only so far.
Oh.
So that's bannable. The whole hero pool that hit
You've got 6 bans.
You do have, yeah. The
Simple.
math checks out.
They're pretty much all Zoo Heroes, too.
Actually, you get 7 bans, so you get 1 extra.
And also something I want to see for OG to a bit different in the second game is do not play Foracle. When I say Foracle, for Oracle, I want to see Taiga playing something different, you know, something that can play a bit more aggressive in your face, because they were like sitting back quite a lot. Having Crystal Maiden, Oracle, sure, these things, 2 heroes are really good when you're ahead, but when you're playing from behind, the game gets very, very, very difficult.
It's pretty crazy if you compare Crystal Maiden Oracle on one side, Jenkins, and on the other side you got Tiny Mirana. Something doesn't add up there.
Yeah, I mean, I think for the whole year, we watched a lot of Western EU DPC, and Taiga, we always said Taiga was the reason OG could play so greedy on their 3 cores, and that he just does so much in all of the lanes. And so, yeah, we'll hope to see that again here.
The thing is, I don't think that the Oracle is a problem in general. I think OG have found something very cool for themselves, where they've found a 4 that can both be defensive but also be offensive, given that his lane goes well, right? Oracle can actually bust out a serious amount of damage at level 7, and they tend to pair him with any kind of stunning offlaner like Tidehunter or Sand King. It just went so badly for them that it started to look terrible, right? So I'm not saying that OG need to change the way that they do things for their own drafts, but kind of change what they're playing against. Just make sure you don't have a zoo that can go out of control. We've seen a lot of times in these LAN tournaments, specifically the non-DPC Riyadh Masters, when 33's hero pool got, he wasn't there actually, but in one of the tournaments, I can't remember which one, it was one of the majors, I believe, Arlington, when 33 got target banned in almost every single game in the groups, they just were not winning games.
Yeah, he is a key component to the roster and to the draft for sure, as we know with all the different zoo heroes, as an example, that he can play for sure. I want to also give some extra credit. Of course, OG is playing with 2 of the youngest players at the international, 17 years on both Amar, that you see right here, and BZM. This is their first international. We know they've played on many stages, but of course, this is the international. A little bit of extra pressure here. And I know, Lucas, you said before the series started, we've heard it from Skeeter. He said Tundra on LAN is heralds. I thought it went pretty well.
Yeah, I said they need this win to be able to get that confidence for the rest of the tournament, and especially for this series coming into the game 2, and they got it. So
yeah.
I'm a little worried for OG, I'm gonna be honest, because Tundra, when they're on the roll, they really are on the roll.
But it also does feel like
There
Tundra.
they are, the boys. The boys.
You gotta respect the camaraderie going on.
Yes.
There. But it really does feel like that of all the European teams, Tundra is one of the teams that is most confident in playing against OG for reasons we've talked about before. Just in the way that the DPC system is set up, they often play against each other, they scrim against each other too, and even when OG is looking fire hot, they still lose to Tundra in the DPC format.
Yeah, I mean, going into the game, for me, the question is how does OG want to adjust? Because I think there's no clear-cut answer to that. Obviously, they left in the Zoo heroes intentionally with the idea that they were going to counter it with, potentially the Sand King is a big part of that, which they've been doing throughout the group stages. And the question is, for me, do they feel like Tundra countered their counter too well? Like, do they go and pick the Sand King again? And are they confident enough to just keep doing what's been working for them? Or has Tundra figured them out and they do something different? They try to get the Timber earlier or something like that.
That's what I was thinking, actually.
Yeah, when we were watching the game, you noticed something about the itemization, the starting items.
All right, it is time for game 2. Let's get into the draft.
OG versus Tundra Esports. Game 2.
Tundra Esports turn to ban.
Yes, drafting time. Continue your thoughts.
Yeah, you're right. I did notice something about it. Back to you, Shiver.
Great. No, we need to talk about something that I thought was the big elephant in the room. I was watching the draft, and we heard great analysis coming out from Purge earlier about some of the more contested heroes and stuff. Marci ignored, Primal Beast ignored, Enigma only last phase banned. What's going on?
You know, I would really like for OG to pick something like a Marci or a roaming style 4 for Taiga, and then just pick some self-sustained type of Timbersaw early on. I know that the hero isn't in the place that it used to be, but that really could be their best approach right now. It's comfort for ATF, and it also gives them an answer to the Zoo.
Yeah, I think like that was my argument, or at least the way that I was thinking about what Lacoste was saying about the Oracle. It's not that the Oracle isn't like good at providing damage and contributing to ganks. It's that the Oracle's the +1, right? And I think Taiga, it can often look a lot better for OG when he is the one to start things, the one to do things. And Oracle doesn't really do that, even though he is active in a lot of ganks. And Marci would let him do that. Clockwork, something like that, would let him do that.
Yeah, so they are thinking about this here, but Tundra, just go back to that Mirana. It is a hero that Sox has played. It is now a hero that Sneyking has played.
It's Sneyking's best hero.
So now this hero can be put on either side lane depending on which heroes I want to go here. I don't think this hero is the best hero in Dota, but Tundra are making it look really good.
Yeah, I mean, something that we mentioned, Tundra is trying to break the game. Like, how often do you see position 5 Mirana? And also not starting with the arrow, starting with the Starstorm instead. Reading the recent changes, you know, testing things out, so, you know, these numbers are much higher.
Yeah.
They're better than the arrow. And also the starting items that we wanted to mention, but Jenkins always wanted to be a fool. But yeah, it was...
Lots of mangoes.
It was 3 mangoes on Slark. Mirana did start with 4 branches, 6 tangos, and the Fairy Fire, being able to, like, trade with whatever comes at her. And okay, this is a bit of an adjustment from OG.
Very cute Primal Beast coming up.
But I do like this more than the Ember already, because Primal Beast as a hero, right, he's flexible in that you can put him on the mid lane, the off lane. You can also have him played as a position 4, the way that Liquid have done it throughout the group
Even
stage.
5 is good, honestly.
Yeah. So this hero can give you a lot, but also he's capable of fighting back with very little, right? His lane doesn't have to go incredibly well, even though usually it does.
It does.
And it's just so easy for him to respond to Tundra's early game aggression, right? He has this insane gap close ability that makes him just close off this distance.
You never lack damage with this hero on your team either. Like, he does so much damage with Trample, and it scales too.
And you also do have a hero that goes in without needing an item, something that did happen in the previous game where like Sankin can't just run in. You did have Crystal Maiden and Oracle as your supports, so you are relying on that Blink Dagger. This time around, Primal Beast can just go in, have an Oracle behind you, which means that, you know, you don't need to care too much. There's going to be Oracle that's going to save you, and something that Jenkins pointed out, you're always going to have enough damage.
That's a really good point. And I just think that this Primal Beast can do so much with so little, even early on, without even getting runes. It's easy for Primal Beast to just walk back base, TP to a lane, and almost always
Kill
get
somebody,
a kill,
get back to
right?
mid before the creep wave hits the
Yeah,
tower.
so often when a mid hero can't get runes, it kind of really sucks for them, because you don't know if a side lane TP is going to translate to a kill. Because when you want to go back to your base, it's best to just go to a side lane, get a kill, and go back mid. A lot of heroes can lose so much by doing that. Primal Beast isn't one of those heroes. Because,
Just runs over cliffs to get back.
It's just too simple for him to do it.
I think the big change to Primal Beast that made him good at going in without items, like you guys were mentioning, is the fact that you can use your Uproar during the ult now. Because when you go in and you use the ult, it drives a lot of the focus onto you, and so you just get max Uproar stacks immediately, and then all of a sudden everybody's slowed to a crawl. And you have this massive amount of armor, and yeah, just you know, a massive amount of armor on the hero that has the highest strength gain in the entire game is it's a lot of HP to chew through.
Do you know what looks like a really good hero for Tundra, though? I think they have played it once or twice too already, but the Shadow Demon versus the Primal Beast and the Oracle, while having them around in your team, you got to set up for the arrow, but you also get Purge to just... The Purge stops everything that Primal Beast wants to do, right? It stops him from charging, it stops his Trample from doing any damage. You also have the Disruption to save an ally. It just gives you a lot, so I wouldn't be surprised if Tundra go for it here.
Yeah, it's a hard counter to Oracle too, right?
Yeah.
The constant purge on the heals that are coming through when Oracle presses the ult. That one feels really bad to play against.
And if you played 4 and get an early Ags, it just gives you so much more that you can do in the game too. And we've seen that Tundra doesn't mind giving up farm priority to the supports when they need to.
Yeah, at the moment, most of the bans on the side of OG are targeted seemingly to 9. Tusk, of course, we've seen him on the Tusk mid quite a few times, Tiny as well. And now the Luna removed for Skeeter, and there's the Marcy.
Oh, Marcy
Primal Beast on
That's
one beast.
Yeah.
Definitely didn't expect that one to happen. Usually it's like either banned or you get one.
It's actually one of the sickest combos in Dota too. Like, they happen to be the 2 OP new heroes, so that already is interesting to see them on one team. But the move speed that Marcy provides, and then throwing people back into Trample, is one of the nastiest combos ever. It really makes it so that if this Primal Beast is going to be a core, which it looks like it probably is given these heroes, his scaling with Trample is going to be, it's just so much damage.
Yeah, that looks like the Spooky 3 coming out from there already. Of course, we have seen Tundra prioritizing the Visage this time earlier, out of fear for it getting banned out. Now we also have the Shaker. One thing, though, on the side of Tundra, I don't think, Jenkins, there's any doubt about who's playing what at this point. Or are you expecting some kind of like somewhere? Ooh, maybe now.
It's back.
It's back.
Mid-Spirit Breaker.
Mid-Spirit Breaker.
No, still with Tundra. No, we're pretty sure where these heroes are going to go. And I mean, I really like the Earthshaker pick. I really love Earthshaker against these backline heroes like Oracle and Dazzle because you can go in and focus a guy on the front line, and then you fissure the backline to prevent them from coming in to save. And then Marcy and Primal Beast also are two heroes that run into you and just man up on you, right? And Earthshaker's like, all right, I'll Echo Slam you, no big deal.
If I was an Oracle player in this game, I would have a really difficult time. Playing against Spirit Breaker, Shaker, like Mirana, Visage Birds, it just gets very, very difficult as time goes by.
Yeah, I will say though that having the Spirit Breaker and the Earthshaker come out together, it looks like at some point in the game, in the early game, Tundra will lack a lot of damage. We've seen how Soxa likes to rotate while 33 after he secures his lane, and he just kind of farms up, tries to get that Wraith Pack timing, tries to get that pipe timing, and he's just playing with 9 the entire time. But between Spirit Breaker and Earthshaker, they actually don't really have that much damage, so it may be a little bit different to last game in that they can't do the heavily punishing plays that they did in game 1 to OG. OG can easily live through these fights.
How's Timber not picked or banned? Am I crazy here? How isn't this a god tier Timber game now? You're against Visage Birds. You're gonna get max reactive.
When Amar was on panel, I saw I think 4 strength heroes, and Amar said, you know, it's not a good Timber game. So you know, I do. If someone
Earthshaker,
if someone comes to my mind when there's a Timber Saw, that's definitely Amar. But
that is a Phantom Lancer. I mean, Yuragi is good at it, don't get me wrong, but indeed against Shaker.
Against Spirit Breaker, like you're gonna know which one is real.
Yes.
You can dodge it though, if you time it correctly, if you have vision. But this is gonna be most likely mid Spirit Breaker, so that means that his abilities are gonna be maxed out early on, which makes things more difficult for Phantom Lancer to play the game. And yeah, one of the reasons why Tundra does have most Roshan kills per game is this zoo. Buying all these small items that we mentioned, having this Blast, having this Wraith Pack early on, which does allow them to kill Roshan and then snowball, get more advantage in the early game.
And this will be the first Phantom Lancer game that OG plays this event.
The thing is, I don't think that this is a bad PL game though. Like, I look at it and I can see this PL doing a lot, right? Because you look at his lane versus Earthshaker and Visage, they don't really have that much kill threat on him in the laning stage until there's a rotation, or it becomes just easier to chance them, right? He can disjoint a lot of these spells and get away if he needs to. He can also farm relatively quickly, and when he does get to the point, the only threat on the team is just the Earthshaker Echo Slam. The other 3 heroes are pretty easy for PL. So I can honestly see this going really well for OG. And like I mentioned before, I do think Tundra are going to run into a bit of a problem where they lack some early game damage when they're playing away from the Visage, right? Once Visage is ready to fight, maybe that's not the case, but when they're playing away from him, they just have really slow damage output.
What if they put Earthshaker on the mid lane against the Primal Beast? I mean, this is not the matchup that I've seen, but sounds a bit better than having Spirit Breaker on the mid lane.
Huh. I have seen a bit of Spirit Breaker 4 position throughout the group stage, actually.
Yes,
so
there were a couple.
I could see that being that makes the Earthshaker much better against the PL as a counter.
When the Earthshaker as a 4 is a bit slow, especially if things are not going well, if you don't have like someone to kill the towers early on, which they do have Visage, but you never know how the laning stage is gonna go. So we've seen some Earthshakers struggle to get the Blink Dagger, opting for the Shard sometimes when they cannot get that Blink Dagger.
Well, with the flex potential in mind, the 9 plays Visage sometimes, so there's that. We've seen Mirana coming out from the off lane. I mean, carry Mirana, who knows? You know, there's if you're taking it that far, then I think there's everything still possible for
9 did play
Tundra.
mid Mirana.
He also did that. And there's a lot of potential. I mean, it's Tundra. There always is a lot of unusual hero matchups in terms of lanes. But with that in mind, they can just wait it out, see what OG goes for with their last and final pick, and then match up the lanes the way they think is beneficial for them.
OG need their last pick to be able to fight really early and fight into this Visage, not like last game. I think they need something that's just online with no resources, and it's just unfortunate that there's no Pango in this game. It gets found out. That's one of the best heroes to fit the bill for you there.
Yeah, Pango would have been really nice, like stunning the birds, stunning the Earthshaker and the Spirit Breaker who are gonna, jump in there. I mean, there's still Timber, but the question is like, is Timber too like? He'll sit in a lane and farm. Like maybe he's too do nothing.
There's Puck still for OG.
There's a Lifestealer coming out.
I can see the Puck working out. It's really solid against Spirit Breaker too.
This is a good response to what OG has at the moment. Well, this Lifestealer is not afraid of any of these heroes, and it's a good counter to Primal Beast.
Yep, and Tundra seems to be fairly confident that their heroes already answer the PL, of course, because PL against Lifestealer is definitely a PL favored matchup, but on both sides they're saying yes, there are some counters, but we're still confident in our hero pick. I mean, 3 strength heroes in a Visage who's going to give you max reactive stacks. It already felt good, and then the Lifestealer coming out. There's just not much pressure on a Timber.
And now that we know that it's a mid Primal Beast, we can be certain that OG are going to be able to fight into Tundra early on too, because Primal Beast can offer that to you the same way that a Pango does. We just assumed that it would be comboed up with the Marcy, but it doesn't necessarily have to be, right? You're having a Timbersaw who can kind of self-sustain on the lane enables Marcy to go play with the Primal Beast instead of the Primal Beast coming to them.
Yep, she's like the best roamer in the game, so it's funny. Like anytime you come up with oh yeah, this hero is really good in a lane with another one, it's like, well then you could throw it mid too because she roams mid. She's the best roamer to go mid in the patch.
Yep, and in the end it's going to be Spirit Breaker played by 9, the old school combo, Lifestealer plus Spirit Breaker. That's going to be very interesting to watch.
So the thing is, Tundra are playing for a specific timing, and I think that if they kind of mess it up a little bit, then the Timbersaw and the PL are going to scale incredibly well and carry OG to victory here. But if Tundra can pull off what they did in Game 1, could be difficult for OG, but I think OG are much better equipped this time around.
From what I can hear from you guys, you feel that OG in the laning stage has got a better solution to what Tundra has this time, so they should be able to properly play their game plan this time around.
Definitely. It'll be a game. We'll get to see a mid-game.
I think they'll do. I honestly think OG will win this one, but we'll see. I don't want to jinx them.
All right, no jinxing is happening here on the side of Tundra. The heroes were picked that we were expecting by the players, so we will see indeed the Mirana position 5 once again. We will see the Shaker on the position 4. There's nothing unusual there other than, unusual is still Spirit Breaker mid. Very curious how that will play out. Do we have a Spirit Breaker versus Primal Beast? Have we seen that?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Any reference points?
I was thinking about it, and I guess there's some cool stuff like Bulldoze versus Pulverize, but and then he can charge fast, so if he sees the Primal Beast.
They both charge. They can both just charge.
Yeah, they'll charge into you.
What happens if Spirit Breaker's charging and Primal Beast is they charge into each other?
We're gonna find out what happens when that indeed plays itself out. We're heading over to Cat, SPG, and Quinn for the answer to that.
Thank you, Sheever. That's right. We're heading into Game 2 here. Our panel has already stated, hey, this is looking like a much better setup. Quinn, in fact, backstage was saying, yeah, this game actually looks playable. What changed in the draft that we feel so confident that OG is going to have a better time Game 2?
I think the lanes are much easier for OG to function. I also think whenever you look at the way the damage is dealt this game compared to the prior game, if anything, I would say Tundra is more in terms of this similar low damage types of thing. You have Shaker, you have Spirit Breaker, you have Potom, who without a really good start is not super high damage, Lifestealer. It's a lot of these sort of very mid-range damage heroes sort of go from the front. You're against a Timbersaw, you're against an Oracle, Primal who's tankier than the Ember last game, PL who has very, very good scaling this game. I think there's a lot of dynamics that are nicer for OG this game.
Yeah, I think the two heroes that OG want going in the series, in a sense, are Pango, which is getting first phase ban. I don't think they're ever going to get it. And to me, the Timber. I think Timber is, outside of the Tide, the one hero Amar plays that can have a really good early game and then be that bulwark in the mid game versus what we saw last game, which is Tundra going high ground at 20 minutes, right? Timbersaw thrives in that environment as long as he gets a good start. And I mean, we're looking at the best Timbersaw player in the world right now. I've watched this guy all season long destroy people on Timbersaw, and I expect nothing else. Like, this is the time to show up. We were joking about it, but if you looked at those last ban phase, go back 3 months, they banned Razor and Viper last 2, and he got Timber. these were the 3 that were first phase banned, and he always got 1. So very much in Amar's comfort zone. Obviously, the hero's a bit different now, but my expectations are just as
Yeah, I mean, he's someone who understands the hero at such a level. His item build from game to game, you'll see it shift like crazy. One game, he'll go the classic, the Hood, Kaya Sanj. The game against us, he had like a 4-staff, a Yules, a Halberd.
Yeah.
Some crazy builds. He bought like no Kaya. Dude understands the hero at a really deep level.
I remember watching that game and thinking, like, I've never seen so much utility out of Amar before in my life.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was super right for the game.
definitely going to be a very different change of pace. I'm also curious about this mid matchup. The panel discussed a little bit the Spear Breaker versus the Primal Beast. This matchup's very weird, right? Because you're, as I say that, and already off to a different pace. That Timbersaw lane getting damage done between the heavy nuke damage. Snaking pays the price with level 1 Starstorm.
Yeah, it seems Snaking just really underestimated the firepower of this lane. That's very awkward. But yeah, back to this, I mean, we don't ever see this matchup. What is this?
I don't think anybody's ever seen this matchup. Maybe
Quinn,
only
have you ever played this
I've
one?
Never played or seen this. It looks like it might be Spear Breaker favored.
Yeah, Quinn, walk us through the details of this matchup.
Yeah, really get into the minutia.
So Unga Bunga. That's
the
most of it. Yeah.
He's walking him down.
Oh, there it is. You said it. It's just who bigger, you know? Who bigger who?
He
That's all it
yell,
is. And Primal, yeah, Primal Beast has got the uproar. He's the biggest yeller.
I'm not sure what happened. Maybe Nine charged him aggressively to try and stop him from CSing, and then he got yelled on. He might have like pushed it a bit too much, because I think what should happen is both of the 70 damage Unga Bunga heroes should just like CS realistically for most of the lane. But I think he might have got a little too aggressive, and it's a pretty costly death. You get behind on levels, and suddenly maybe this starts happening more.
Yeah, he's being pressured again by BCM.
I mean, it seems like you have to save this charge for the trample disconnect, you know, and if that's on cooldown, this matchup looks not that much fun. On top of that, this Bulldoze working with how the Primal Beast ults works isn't that great, because you can't status resist it. It's kind of it's a weird matchup, right? I'm not sure if the planar pocket thing is still in there.
The planar pocket completely negates his ult.
It just ends, right?
It just negates. So this is a very weird matchup on how the spells interact. I don't know. We might see some crazy stuff. But I'm a mid Spear Breaker. I mean, you can't not love it, right? Charge on charge.
We're gonna have a lot of fun with this one, that's for certain. Bottom lane, 33 under pressure here. You're gonna have to throw out the Fissure. They throw some damage back at Roggy. Roggy's okay. Man, he was really thinking. He doesn't even have Phantom Rush. There was no way he was gonna do anything there.
I mean, he might regret that Lance. Now, pretty much 0 mana, so if he ever gets Soul Assumption, he's not going to have a way to dodge it with no Doppelganger. And no more kill potential with no more Lances either, so he's going to be in CS and chill mode for the rest of this lane now with no mana, realistically.
That said, I feel like OG's a bit happier with CS and chill with the PL versus this as opposed to the Morph, because the PL can actually hit the early Diffusal, Manta, Heart, whatever order you want to go to get those items, and suddenly Visage teamfight becomes a lot more annoying, right? You have a great Wraith Pact killer, you have a great hero that can go and tank up a lot of the early attention spells and suddenly turn the tide. I feel like OG's a lot happier with this laning phase than last game.
Yeah, but I think you've also got a lot better ways to rebuff this Visage if he goes to your tower. You've got a Timber who can keep you in. Good luck killing him this game. You got a Primal who can gank the Visage. Once PL gets this diff you, Visage just can't just kick him out on his own. Like, PL's gonna come in and say, yeah, come fight me. I'll burn all your mana. I'll kill you, you know? So I think Visage, this game compared to last game, it is not even close to the same like level of terror.
I agree. You gonna arrow Timbersaw under his tower and dive him? It might be a different story.
So it looks like OG, CS-wise, pretty happy with all their lanes. The Phantom Lancer, who's bottom of the bunch, really isn't that far behind. Seems like mid lane's going very well, which is a little surprising to me. Taiga is going to be able to pick up the kill on Snaking again here, as he just does not seem to match up well against this 4 Oracle. Misha getting a little bit low, but so is 33. Yuragi gunning for it. Does have one more Phantom Rush, and that final swing will get the kill. A big one to be able to take down 33's Visage. Already setting him behind in laning phase.
3 OG cores pushing the top here of CS and Net Worth. Very different start from last game. I think this is what they wanted to have happen last game, where that early magic damage draft can come in. This time, I think their draft's a lot more well-rounded, and they're having a way better early game. Should bode very well for them.
That was not how I
charge beat Spear Breaker charge.
That was not how I thought that interaction was gonna go, and it makes me question, like, besides the planar pocket, like, if the charge isn't gonna be working, then what? Maybe it's something about the angle there, because I feel like
you just have to yell louder.
Oh,
right?
okay.
Everybody knows the mics, they have volume detection. So if you yell louder while you're charging,
It's like a DS.
Yeah, exactly. It's the fourth barrier. It gives you the charge advantage.
I mean, we have so many innovations in Dota. What's one more for this line event, you know?
Some shenanigans going on. I mean,
Level 6 already on BZM.
This setup is pretty rough. Like, if he ever presses trample, 9 is just going to lose, like, you know, a third of his HP, maybe half. Uh-oh.
Not looking so good here. Nice dodge there. Not getting hit by the aftershock. The Fissure may allow Sox then to get back to the tower in time.
Yeah, we saw the charge icon down there too. That was not 9 setting up a gank. That was 9 surviving the gank on mid and now having to walk back to base. BZM with the earlier level 6 just pulverizes him back to the fountain. Taiga with some rotations. Again, for Oracle, OG's playbook for the event. They believe in what this hero can provide in terms of sustain for their Tricore. And if the Tricore comes online, it's going to be a lot more powerful.
Hello. Goodbye.
He did steal the haste rune, though.
Oh, nice. That was a good pickup. Because Primal Beast with the Haste Rune is, I mean, that hero already, I love this Primal Beast mid. I mean, it just feels like it has so much impact. We start off with the Lance Chance qualifier. We watched Thompson play it. Even if they didn't manage to make it through that event, they still showed the strength of this mid Primal Beast. He just is everywhere around the map, constantly.
Yeah, this hero is very, very strong. The kill threat he provides is crazy. He gives you initiation. He can scale like crazy. He gives you a buttload of stuns as the game progresses.
Yes, lanes are just non-stop fighting.
Misha's going to get a bit low here. Enough to push him back. Here comes the
actual charge.
First big rotation. The actual charge coming in from 9. They're going to start throwing some damage into Yuragi. They managed to force him to use the Doppelganger early, which means this charge is going to be beautifully placed. Misha interrupt, but they can't quite stop it. 9 still gets off his ultimate and will be able to get the kill on BZM. BZM is now here.
The dinosaur
just grabs up Soxa, slams his head into the pavement, and bye-bye support. There's nowhere for him to run to. Taiga will gladly take that killing spree. He's like, you know what, guys? Yeah, I'm going to play the sacrificial role. I'm going to play these healers and stuff, but I still want the last hit.
This right here is not what you want to see. The Lifestealer has been kicked out of his lane, and that is a worry. If you're ever on the team with Lifestealer and he's getting forced to leave.
BZM protecting Taiga, and the setup here. Taiga secures the kill with the Purifying Flames. Dominating streak for him.
Yeah, I mean, sort of the flip script from last game. You start to worry about Tundra's damage a little bit. Suddenly, this Shaker, Spearbreaker, Nakes together. Level 3 Potom. You're looking at, you know, a Timbersaw and a Primal with an Oracle behind them. You're wondering, I wonder if they're going to be able to kill these heroes as time progresses.
I don't see Amar ever dying in this game. What is actually going to kill this guy? The Visage can't do much to him. The other heroes you said not doing much. Are they going to get a fast Vessel in this game? I don't even think they're going to get a fast Urn. I mean, this guy's going to be invincible. And
oh, he's begging for a badge. Okay, they do manage to get it off of the Fissure. Skeeter is joining in here. I mean, they got to do something a little bit funky here because, as you said, this game is not setting up well. So apparently all the cores are going to come into this mid area and try and chase down BZM with the Uproar. He's got some armor, so he's not the easiest to kill, but he will eventually go down.
Just 5 mana off that onslaught, no escape mechanism. That's a huge pickup for them. That is the one core they can try and abuse, because the Phantom Lancer, maybe you kill him once more or whatever, but he is going to escape to the jungle. You're not going to find him for a while. This Timbersaw is invincible. You got to try and abuse something on the map here for Tundra, and it's probably this BZM. You know, abuse him with your charge him back. OG's going to have free reign playing behind the Mar right now, who's once again trying to solo kill Snaking.
They have the burst, spells, half a second off.
I mean, you could see Amara drawing circles there a second ago. Like, he's clearly a bit frustrated. This Potom's able to sit up here and stall. Like, the tower probably could have died maybe a minute and a half earlier, but the Potom's up there being annoying, dragging some waves. And the move Tundra made bottom earlier, where the Oracle TP, the Marcy TP's back down there, Primal TP, suddenly this Potom gets some time up top. Nakes is just farming mid the whole time. You can see he got kicked out of the lane, but his net worth is not bad. It's considerably above the PL, so the move from Tundra bottom earlier, having pretty big dividends for slowing down this Timber a little bit inadvertently.
And with the damage problems we outlined for Tundra, it feels like Mirana actually having levels could be really important.
Yeah, those levels in Starstorm make a lot of difference.
I mean, the levels for both supports, like the extra Fissure levels. This Fissure is a pretty high damage nuke now, but you need the levels, potentially Shard, to really maximize it.
Yeah, particularly with the 10 talent, we've talked about that. How good it is with the Shard and everything. It's a surprising amount of damage.
This is like last game. Amar moving down bottom to defend the tower against the 33 Visage push. Only now he can actually do it, right? Yeah. He is a much bigger boy with a lot more armor than that Sand King.
Snake King. He went and denied the rune. The Fissure comes out, and BZM still managed to get the charge forward. Snake King is going to be grabbed up here. Slam, slam, slam. He doesn't have a leap, so bye-bye, Snake King. 9-4. OG not up by a huge amount of net worth, but it does feel like they're kicking things into gear, and it's about to start snowballing against Tundra.
Oh yeah, they got all the levels in the world on BZM here, and last game, it was hard to get this Oracle in the game because their cores were behind. This game, BZM, as we're seeing, they can use the Oracle early nuke damage to help them get these kills. OG has all the damage in the world on these early nukes. They are also going to have double purge, right? You have Fortune's End, you have Timbersaw rushing Yules. It's another interaction that makes the game hard for Nine. He's not just going to have free bulldoze going in, charging, getting the connection, and
it's going to try and get involved here.
You get Yules to
He's going to go best inside of 9. They're going to try and set this up. 9 actually popping out of that smoke. Taiga's already here as well. They're going to start scouting things behind the tower. The team's there for a second, just seeing what they're up to, and it feels like OG, they're feeling pretty good about them. They do have Tundra. They are going to have to start making some moves, and Skier, once again, is going to try and get involved here. He's going to go best inside of 9. They're going to try and set this up. 9 actually popping out of that smoke. Taiga's already here as well. They're going to start scouting things behind the tower. They're going to go for Amar, but Taiga is behind him. They need to be able to address this Oracle and kill him quickly. They get that fast kill, and now Amar, let's see if they can chase him down. Saksa was on the other side of things. He's going to need to hit a lot of stuns, and the rest of OG, yeah, they're here. Amar turning around with the Chakra, the Moonlight Shadow, allows them to get on top of BZM. Oh, they didn't have any detection.
Oh, heck. I can't believe you've done this.
Where was all that damage? It's the Life Stealer just pumping out a lot of damage on that Primal Beast?
Yeah, apparently so. I mean, I think this Timber TP bottom maybe looks a lot better than it actually was. I think if you compare it to like the games where this TP feels extremely powerful, there's not that much pressure on the next top. You see him just pour top, and he just runs all the way down the lane. And the way this Timber is bottom, like it's not like Tundra's forced to go there. They're not getting squeezed elsewhere, you know. So he's sitting there, and he's not really pressuring much. He's delaying the tower some, sure, but at any point, Tundra has the map sorted themselves. They can make this move there, and it's a bit awkward for OG.
Yeah, they're trying to run it back and get the punish without the numbers. Double core commitment for OG.
I'm helping. I can't believe you've done this.
What's the worst that could happen?
It's gonna be fine.
What the herald was that?
No aftershock.
Rumble in the jungle.
Is it a feed? Maybe it's a bait.
It has to connect between Amar and BZM.
Wow. I'm kind of bad.
Calculated. Mid and hold hands with me.
That's so
You know anything about that?
He got tier 1 mid on his own.
Dota is so hard, man.
For the benefit of the team, I will take the blame on that one.
That's a nice argument. Why don't you back it up with a source?
不要凶嘛，不是故意的。
Finest creation.
Oh, don't be upsetting. Have some spaghetti.
And here we see the Dota players in their natural habitat.
Sorry, what?
Yo, what up? Did you see that? Please tell me you just saw that.
Baby.
I'm spamming this purely for attention.
Control the Lancer a little bit in the very
I'm spamming this purely for attention.
Better because this damage gets amped a lot, right? We're talking like Sange and Kaya territory with Ags, and you're just getting huge charge throughs. You can also take the fight on the
Did you see that? Please tell me you just saw that.
Sure. With the Visage Birds coming in to help, can be a route they go. In terms of direct counters, though, maybe you're going to try and build some Maelstroms. Skeeter's already queuing one up. I mean,
you're going to need a lot of small counters put together, right? Because Life Stealer, he really doesn't address Phantom Lancer at all.
No. Yeah, but you have the stuns on Tundra, but you don't really have the damage. So maybe there's some point where if he doesn't have the tankiness yet, maybe he's got a Yasha and he's working on a Math, you know, but he doesn't have the heart yet. And there's some good fight.
Wow.
Is it a feed? Maybe it's a bait.
Maybe he gets a little bit spooked. There's a window there where they really like damage to do.
Rumble in the jungle.
Don't even need to use the ultimate for BZM. Once again, Snaky's just going to the lanes that I think nobody else really wants to go to.
What the herald was that?
Just trying to get something out of this. 30
What's the worst that could happen?
It's gonna be fine. What can you do? What can you do?
Oh, heck. Company dumping.
Will you come mid and hold hands with me?
You know, let me think about that one.
That felt so good. There's a lot of hero displacement spells in this game. Yeah, there is. Like an acrobat session or something. People are going to be bounced around.
God Gamer alert! God Gamer
Yeah, we see Uragi. He's actually going against a lot.
Calculate it! Yep, calculate it.
That is going to be extremely
Versus.
Meanwhile,
That's
BZM
so
keeping his foot on the pedal here.
Yeah, trying to go for Zox. Skeeter showing up with the charge
Dota is
through as
so
well.
hard,
BZM may be in a bit
man.
of trouble here, but Taiga's sitting in the back. He's ready to go with the save of the false promise. Misha, he's going to use it there. Taiga, Misha turns around. He does what damage he can. False promise is going to wear out. He probably will die here, but at least he did some damage on his way out. Taiga almost getting charged. They lose vision. Now they get into the charge. Oh, the self-purge. What a beauty. And a big onslaught in from BZM. Knocking back 4. He'll bring down Snake King first. With the infest inside of his 9, they're going to be able to get a little bit of a reset here. But is OG going to keep pursuing? Is Tundra going to fight back underneath this tower? Both teams posturing, feinting, but ultimately not pulling the trigger.
What a sick Fortune's End by Taiga there. Catches them both, prevents the charge connection, gets the purge as well. And BZM is just rampaging.
The damage is just overwhelming. A DD for BZM. Sees the charge in from 9 and knows, hey, that's a freebie. That's all me right there.
Yeah, I mean, here's where the map starts to get a little bit spooky for Dire. Suddenly, things are really open. This PL has a lot of free reign, and Tundra still hasn't taken this bottom tier 1. All the towers still up. You start looking at places where you can realistically get kills, and those places are few and far between. The biggest one being this bottom area, and OG is taking advantage and winning those fights. So, where is Tundra going to open things up?
Yeah, there's only one place Tundra can fight, and it's always Amar sitting here, preventing them from doing that. 9's going to TP down, but he's just stuck here too. He's trying to get the Shadow Blade, an item that can help them open up some of these areas, make it scarier for the PL to push deep. It has to connect with something though. I don't think the Spearbreaker has enough damage on his own. It has to connect with the Mirana or the Earthshaker on top. Soxa is choosing to go Shard over the Blink, so he will play off those fissures, got the levels of it, needs some extra Aftershock.
Yeah, it makes sense. It feels like they do need the impact right now, right? Yes. I mean, we start stalling out the game any longer, we get to the point you were talking about, right? Where the Phantom Lancer is too tanky for them to deal with.
Yeah, it is very spooky. I mean, Avery talks about this Spearbreaker being able to pick people off a little more, but...
Grabbed. Skeeter does still have the rage. No infest though, so he's going to have to back out. BZM realizing that he's actually still has some capabilities of fighting here, especially with the rest of OG backing him up.
Tundra was smoking there. I think they really wanted to be there at that moment to take the fight, turn it around with the Lifestealer.
They still have an opportunity. Maybe be able to burst down BZM. They get him. And the jump in from Nisha puts him in a nasty position. Skeeter should be able to finish this up. Once again, there's going to be the false promise, but Misha knows he's dead. He'll just go down fighting where he can. Amar's going to show up. Skeeter needs to go down. That's the offense, and he's dead. Overextending himself. Echo. Oh, Uragi has overextended himself. And the Fisher straight over onto Amar was a nice touch there from Soxa as well.
All right, Tundra striking back with this random river fight that just connected off the back of that smoke. BZM did not get BKB off or anything. That's a completely different fight if it goes the other way. Moonlight Shadow. This spell, it works at TI for a reason. Snaking, busting it out, doing a huge amount of work off the back of the smokes in this ult.
I feel like this Primal Beast just dies so quickly whenever Skeeter's in the... I wonder if he should build some sort of armor on him. I mean, he's only got 6 base armor.
Yeah, he might need a plate mail, or maybe he just needs to come in late and not be the one getting beat up by the snakes. I mean, this whole fighting situation here, I think, maybe there's an element of people who played at TI several times versus some new players. I think BZM, not getting the BKB off and being slightly out of range of the Oracle. There's a lot of like little small things there that are slightly messed up that, ends up costing you pretty big. Your PL dies.
Staking. Not able to get that second leaf off in time, Misha. Grabs him, stuns him, and brings him down to the grave with Amar picking up the killing spree.
That's it. I think OG, they are playing this game very fast, and they have a lot of wiggle room to it, in my opinion. Yeah, like Tundra needs a lot more of those fights before I think they feel very confident going into this late game. And again, this is OG's playbook, right? You have the Amar damage dealing offlaner. You have this Tricore with the power of the sustain behind it. this is a scary lineup to scale into. This Primal Beast can also scale like a monster. I mean, you're talking about Ags, Shivas, Shard down the road. This hero's spooky in the late game. So you have to worry about this PL timings if you're Tundra, but you also have to worry about what happens after that if you get past that point. And they're doing a good job of, you know, equalizing the net worth differential here. Saksa has got a lot of farm in the last 5 or 6 minutes. Like, he's almost a blink on top of the Shard. Those fights helping him. OG want to keep the pace up, looking for 33.
The birds are going to drop, stopping that channel. Shouldn't be a problem here for 33 to get out, but maybe Tundra wants to go back in. They see Amar. Skeeter leading the charge. He's going to start slowing him down with the Maelstrom. Actually does a little bit of damage there. BZM, oh, he was trying to hunt down Saksa. Now the turnaround Fisher, and once again, he's just getting 100 to 0. No BKB going on. 33. Yuragi was trying to address him to be able to eat through that cloak, but now Tundra playing together, went back to 33, made sure the Phantom Lancer wasn't a problem. Now they're going to try and chase down some more heroes, and that's going to be Taiga. Once again, he's following his course into battle, but when they lose that fight, he has no way out, and he is just the +1 after every lost team fight.
Some rare mistakes from BZM, honestly. A player who's been extremely dominant over the past year. Just not getting the BKB off, not getting the DD off, maybe feeling a bit antsy, feeling like, man, we're so strong, I want to fight Tundra. They're like just out of the reach. You know, he tries for this charge, but he reaches a bit too far, getting a little bit too thirsty for that fight, and it's a big kill. I mean, like Avery said, they need a lot of these. Like, Tundra keeps winning these small fights, and it feels nice, but it's not like a game-ending thing, you know? But at some point, they add up a bit too much, and maybe the pendulum swings back into Tundra's favor.
Yeah, every one of these little skirmishes you lose, you're putting your PL timing back a little bit, right? Yeah, and that's the timing that you want to hit and get the Roshan and get the full map control going. That timing's a little worse every one of these skirmishes you loses, and also for BZM.
Yeah, I can check in with the teams.
He wants to charge.
I'm going.
Hammer, you can fight. Go, I'm here. Can you heal? Push in one. Shake us up. I don't like, please. I don't like, shakes too much. I die.
The call for the Yules there. I mean, if they had gotten that +1 hero, then that would have been such a massive difference, but
I think a pretty good sign they were able to call that off. I think sometimes when your core players maybe a bit nervous, they can get roped into some stuff, and him saying, no, I don't like this, I'm not doing this, I'm gonna die. Like, I think having that awareness and not getting, you know, pulled into something you don't like, I think is very clutch.
Saksa, oh, this could be deadly.
This is the blink reveal too.
This is the blink reveal. He's gonna go and with this smoke get a really nice lane ward, but if the smoke breaks right here, he's gonna go for it. Fisher goes out, jumps right in, Echo, half health already, but the damage still isn't there. They need more follow from the rest of the team. Skeeter's trying to do what he can, but the false promise already got out of Yuragi. Yuragi's gonna go back in. He needs that Aegis. Wants to be able to pick it up. BZM managed to snatch it away. Now grabs up the Lifestealer, slams him down to the ground, and he's dead. Misha, he's gonna fall, but the fight is won, and Tundra are on the retreat. 33 gonna be chased down by BZM. Big bad Primal Beast slows him down, and they're gonna just keep the vision. 33 has no way out of this one, I think. Slowly but surely. They're going to catch up to him. They're going to work him down, and that is going to be 3 heroes dying and the Aegis picked up for OG. What a turn that could have been if only Tundra had been there with more heroes. Saksa hit the entry, but there was no follow-up.
Huge amount of damage on that jump. That's the power of the Oracle, though. Keeps those cores alive, and more importantly, it's not BZM going down first. Means he gets free spells, free BKB this time, no misclicks or any bad clicks that fight. Gets the Aegis snatch as well.
Yeah,
now
the
he's
Zoomer hands
super in a comfortable position.
The Zoomer hands come in handy. It's crazy how much impact these fights where everyone is just clicking Roche and somebody clicks it first. Like, it has such a giant impact on the game. Maybe if Nakes takes that, the fight swings the other way. But, you know, now suddenly, Tundra's sort of in that position where they really don't want to take that fight.
Shout out to BZM for that positioning there. Him being able to charge back in was super important.
And even Misha is just staying alive in these fights for a huge amount of time. There's a lot of sustain on this OG lineup, and if you run out of damage, the damage from Tundra is pretty discreet. You have your spells you throw out, the Fissure, the charge. They live through that, gives PL the turn. Aegis helps these fights stay even longer. Tundra need to think about who they're prioritizing these fights, who they're jumping, who they're going on, syncing the damage up with the stuns, and then maybe resetting, right? You don't want to get caught in a situation where you're giving too much time for PL without the control online. Maybe the one upside is Aegis is not on that Phantom Lancer.
Yeah.
The sieging is a bit worse from OG, but that said, I don't think Yuragi's too scared. EZM definitely isn't.
No, he is not scared at all. They're going to once again do the turnaround with a Fissure and put some damage onto him. But of course, not only does he have Oracle, he's got the Aegis, he's got a BKB.
Charge from behind.
Out there. Ooh, this is interesting. Vanish gets two. The most important hero, Oracle, dies first, and Misha's going to fall too. BZM has already lost his Aegis. Tundra, this charge in from 9 may have just set them up for a fantastic team fight. The second part, he's going to get the charge on through. Doesn't actually hit the real Phantom Lancer, but the charge comes in from BZM this time with the onslaught. He's going to go for the BKB TP out and just make sure he stays alive. Thanks to the uproar, that extra armor is going to go to work.
What a disaster of a push. What a charge angle from 9.
How did he get that?
He was just an enemy jungle farming after the Lost Roche fight. Just comes in from behind. He had the charge on the Primal Beast who showed, ends up catching the Oracle with the Infest. Don't mind if I do right there, sir.
I mean, I think 9 quietly playing a really, really good game. I think keeping up this level of net worth on a Spearbreaker, especially after such a rough start, after the map being kind of scary, like him having this 10,000 net worth, having this BKB, continuing the scaling is really important, not only for like their continued scaling, but also just like it's so important for their heroes that he's able to have this net worth. I think 9's played a really good game so far.
Yeah, Spearbreaker is one of those as a core, it kind of snowballs in that regard, right? If you get to the Shadow Blade, Aghanim Scepter and such, and you one-shot waves, then you just continue to build up on those items. But if you don't get to that point, you just become another support, perhaps. Uh-oh. He's going to maybe have to blow the BKB. Nope, the Fissure's going to come through. A really good tap. Another Iseko. They're going to change Stun Yuragi. Oh, the onslaught. It's not enough to be able to save him. The BKB goes out from 9. They go for the Infest. 9 can keep the charge going up, and he's immediately. He had a laser focus. He is looking out for that Oracle. He's got a head on a swivel, and he found him. And now they're going to be able to get the Timber Saw as well. 9. Really good save. I mean, Skeeter jumping inside of him enabled that in the first place, but 9 being able to find the right hero to charge every time.
Man, that's a sign of a Visage play right there, too. It didn't even look like the bird was even close, but he knows the range of the drop so well. He just barely clips him on the edge. Getting that +1 kill, like, that's the top net worth Timber Saw. The amount of gold you get from that, the amount of time this guy's dead. Now, suddenly they take over the map. The Spearbreaker gets more items. Nakes finishes off the Mjolnir, which has a really large impact dealing with this PL. And PL doesn't even have heart yet.
Yeah, I feel like OG wanted to use that Aegis to get to that PL timing, get him the heart, and then cement this game. In that last 5 minutes, Tundra's taken over this game. These charges are just nasty. You get the charge through on multiple heroes, the Infest bomb comes out, there's a Fissure follow-up, an Aftershock follow-up on that. It's so much AoE control. There's not much spell immunity on this OG side. They just got that BKB on Amar. The BZN one he's had forever, but for the rest of these OG heroes, they're still trying to get there. I mean, Misha's trying to get to his own.
I almost feel like there's a little bit of a displacement between the Yuragi and where his items are at and how he's playing. I feel like if he has the heart, he can be like kind of frontline like he's been doing, but without that, it's just so many times he's been fissured. They've been able to, like, as you say, charge through, and just a lot of like incidental damage brings him down to like half health.
I mean, it's also about how OG wants to start the fights. It's a bit awkward for OG to find the opening. Yeah. You have this Shadowblade Breaker charging around the map. Everybody's Moonlight shadowed, like Haste Rune drummed around in the back line. You're not going to find this Shaker. He has Force Staff and Blink now. Do you want to just go on the Visage? It's pretty awkward, right? Even the Nakes is invested. You don't even see these heroes.
Leaf and a Force Staff. Snake King, Mule's on cooldown. He'll be able to just TP out before Nisha is able to put a stop to him. We have the Aghanim Scepter now done on the Visage, so big damage upgrade. We said damage was a problem for Tundra, and that is a huge, huge upgrade right there. BZM, though, does now have his own Aghanim Scepter, so look out for that one, and the break mechanic, too. They're sneaking.
Another charge.
BKB immediately going to go out. They're going to try and disengage. They force something out of Amar, and if they can cleanly get out, reset, and maybe go again, they'll feel pretty good about it.
I mean, this is a dynamic we didn't really talk about that much, but while Dire may have had some damage issues earlier in the game, they have no issues of stuns. OG really not very easy for them to start fights. It's either a charge, it's a Marcy jump, it's an Oracle Q, not really super consistent ways. Dire has like 15 angles, 12 stuns, like they're coming from all different places. And if Radiant isn't invincible, at some point it's a little bit spooky for OG to actually start the fight, like Avery was saying.
Now Tundra just boldly going into the triangle here. Yuragi's going to start it off, though.
Yeah, once again.
They found the Shaker.
Snaking. They found the Earthshaker. That is so important. They have the Chakram going out. Soxing is a little bit of Force Staff away. Snaking helps him out, and they manage to reset.
reset. Meanwhile, Skeeter put the damage and already killed Misha. They're going to find the real Phantom Lancer here. Managed to get the ultimate off on him, too. He's going to be false promise. They need to be able to save him. BZM right in the middle of things, trying to go for the break, but the Visage took hardly any damage whatsoever. And it seems like Tundra as a whole are looking pretty good as the Echo goes out in the back line to try and distance himself away from this Timbersaw. And now the rest of the team starts funneling